For centuries, countless souls have been told that true fulfillment lies in accumulating wealth, chasing promotions, or securing the biggest paycheck. But what if that conventional wisdom, that relentless pursuit of material gain, is actually a distraction, a beautifully crafted veil obscuring a far grander calling meant specifically for you? Consider the Apostle Peter, a man whose life perfectly illustrates this very dilemma. Before his transformative encounter with Christ, Peter was undoubtedly good at his job. He was a skilled fisherman, navigating the tumultuous waters of the Sea of Galilee, focused on the immediate demands of his livelihood. His days revolved around the rhythm of the waves, the weight of his nets, and the market value of his catch. This was his reality, his definition of success, and likely the comfort zone he never imagined leaving. Yet as we delve into his story, we uncover a profound truth. God's plan for Peter was always meant to transcend the mundane, to elevate him from a catcher of fish to a fisher of men, from a provider for his family to a shepherd of souls. The critical turning point for Peter wasn't about him suddenly becoming wealthier or more materially prosperous. It was about a radical shift in perspective, a divine invitation to redefine what truly constitutes a life well lived. This isn't just about an ancient apostle. It's about the timeless call that echoes in each of our hearts today. How often do we find ourselves chasing the next promotion, the larger salary, or the more prestigious title, believing these are the benchmarks of a successful life, only to feel an inexplicable emptiness? Like Peter's nets, our ambitions can sometimes tether us to a comfortable but ultimately unfulfilling existence, preventing us from hearing the subtle whispers of God's true purpose for us. This journey of moving beyond the paycheck is not about abandoning responsibility or neglecting our work. Rather, it's about understanding that our profession, our daily tasks, and even our struggles can become the very crucible in which God molds us for a higher calling. It's about recognizing that our greatest impact and deepest satisfaction often lie not in what we accumulate, but in how we serve, how we love, and how we align our lives with God's ultimate plan. Join us as we explore Peter's remarkable transformation, uncovering the timeless lessons that can guide each of us toward discovering and embracing our own divine purpose, far beyond the confines of any earthly reward. His story is your story, waiting to unfold. We've established that Peter, the future pillar of the church, was once just a man tethered to his fishing nets. But let's truly dive into the profound significance of that initial encounter, the moment his earthly ambition collided with a divine invitation. Imagine the scene. Peter, weary from a night of fruitless labor, his muscles aching, his spirit perhaps a little deflated. He'd done everything right. He knew the waters, the currents, the best spots, yet the nets remained empty. This wasn't just a bad night. It was a testament to the limitations of human effort, even skilled human effort, when operating outside a higher purpose. Then Jesus appears. He doesn't offer a better fishing technique or a secret spot. He doesn't promise immediate material gain. Instead, he delivers a simple yet utterly revolutionary command: put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch. Now Peter, with all his professional experience, could have scoffed. Deep water? We've been there all night, nothing there. Yet something in Jesus' presence, something in his authority, compelled Peter to obey. And what happened next? An astonishing, miraculous haul of fish, so immense that the nets began to break and their boat started to sink. This isn't merely a story about a lot of fish. It's a powerful parable for our lives. Peter's experience on that boat vividly illustrates the limitations of our paycheck mentality, working hard, relying on our own strength and expertise, but often finding ourselves falling short, our nets empty in the grander scheme. He was good at his job, yes, but that good was preventing him from grasping the great that God intended. The sheer abundance of the miraculous catch wasn't just to fill his boats, it was to shatter his preconceptions, to show him that God's provision, God's calling, operates on a scale far beyond human comprehension or expectation. It was a visceral, undeniable demonstration that when we step out in faith, even when it seems illogical from a worldly perspective, God can do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. Think about it. How many of us are diligently casting our nets in familiar, safe waters, perhaps earning a decent living, but feeling a persistent sense of something missing? We're chasing the next promotion, the next bonus, the next achievement, believing these external markers will bring fulfillment. But Peter's story challenges us directly. Are those very pursuits, as seemingly beneficial as they are, actually preventing us from launching into the deep waters where God's true purpose for us resides? That overflowing net wasn't just a blessing, it was an undeniable call to a life of greater impact, a life defined not by the size of the catch, but by the magnitude of the calling. This divine intervention wasn't about making Peter a better fisherman. It was about revealing a completely different path, a higher vocation that would transform not just his life, but the lives of millions throughout history. His biggest catch was not fish, but the realization that his life was destined for something far, far greater. This realization is crucial for us, for if we truly seek to live beyond the paycheck, we must be willing to abandon the comfort of the shore and trust the divine invitation to the deep. We've seen how Peter's encounter with the overflowing nets shattered his understanding of provision and purpose. But here's the crucial question for you. How does this ancient story resonate with the subtle and sometimes not so subtle calls God places on your life today? Many of us are waiting for a dramatic, undeniable miracle, a net-breaking catch, to signal God's direction. Yet often, God's invitations are far more nuanced, disguised within our daily routines, our passions, and even our frustrations. Consider this. Are there recurring themes in your life, perhaps certain skills you possess, burdens that weigh heavily on your heart, or even persistent feelings of unease that hint at something more? This isn't about ditching your career tomorrow, but about recognizing that the paycheck might be just one layer of your existence. What if that feeling of dissatisfaction, despite achieving professional success, isn't a sign of failure, but a divine nudge? It's a whisper from God saying, there's more for you to discover, more for you to become. Now this can be uncomfortable, can't it? It challenges our ingrained notion that financial security and career progression are the ultimate metrics of a good life. But what if the deepest insecurity isn't about money, but about an unfulfilled purpose? We often spend years climbing the corporate ladder, only to reach the top and find it leaning against the wrong wall. This is where Peter's journey becomes incredibly relatable. His initial call wasn't to lead the church, it was simply to cast his nets in deeper waters. It was a step of faith, an act of obedience to a seemingly illogical command that opened the door to everything that followed. And here's a thought to ponder. What if the very challenges you face in your current work, the repetitive tasks, or the feeling of being undervalued, are actually refining you for something beyond your current scope? Think of them as the rigorous training Peter underwent, honing his patience, resilience, and faith, even when he didn't understand the ultimate purpose. God often uses our secular experiences to prepare us for sacred callings. The key is to cultivate a sensitivity to these divine nudges, to stop viewing every setback as a failure and start seeing it as a potential redirection. Are you listening to those subtle invitations, or are you too preoccupied with the immediate demands of the catch? Are you open to the possibility that your deepest fulfillment might lie in an area you haven't even considered? an area that transcends the transactional nature of a paycheck and connects directly to God's grand design for your life. This isn't just a theological concept. It's a practical invitation to transform your everyday existence into a profound journey of purpose. We've explored Peter's initial encounter, the jarring realization that a higher purpose awaited him. Now let's solidify this understanding by examining the concrete evidence of his radical transformation and how his obedience laid the very foundation of something far greater than any individual's career. This isn't just theory, it's demonstrable. Truth found in Scripture and 2 millennia of Christian history. After that miraculous catch, Peter didn't hesitate. He left everything. Luke 5:11 states plainly, "When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed him." This wasn't a gradual transition or a strategic career pivot. It was an immediate, unqualified surrender to a divine call. This radical obedience is precisely what empowered Peter to move beyond the paycheck. His worth was no longer tied to his fishing business, but to his availability for God's will. Consider the pivotal moment in Matthew 16:18, when Jesus declares, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it." This isn't just poetic language. It's the divine commissioning of a fisherman to become the cornerstone of an institution that has endured wars, empires, and societal shifts for over 2,000 years. The very fact that Catholicism, with its billions of adherents worldwide, traces its spiritual authority directly back to Peter is irrefutable evidence of the monumental impact of one man's decision to follow Christ. His journey wasn't about personal gain. It was about laying foundations for eternal significance. Think about the sheer scale of that legacy. The Vatican stands as a testament to Peter's role. Countless churches, hospitals, schools, and charitable organizations around the globe bear witness to the mission he initiated. From his initial call, through his trials and triumphs, Peter consistently exemplified a life lived not for earthly reward, but for God's divine purpose. This profound shift from focusing on immediate returns to eternal impact is the core of what we are discussing. So, as we pause here, reflect on this. We've uncovered how Peter's focus shifted from a literal paycheck to a divine purpose, triggered by a miraculous encounter and solidified by radical obedience. We've considered how similar nudges might be present in your own life. The crucial question now becomes, how do we, in our modern lives, cultivate this same radical obedience? How do we emulate Peter's willingness to leave the familiar and embrace the transformative call that lies beyond our own perceived limitations? Peter's life wasn't just a story, it was a blueprint. His actions, rooted in faith and trust, demonstrably changed the world. What will your obedience build? We've explored Peter's radical obedience and the incredible legacy it forged. But here's where we add a crucial layer of nuance, a perspective often overlooked in our pursuit of purpose. The journey beyond the paycheck isn't always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. It involves a profound embrace of discomfort, a willingness to face opposition, and at times, a deeply personal sacrifice. The common misconception is that finding your divine purpose leads to an immediate, serene path of effortless blessings. The reality, as Peter's life vividly demonstrates, is far more complex and ultimately more rewarding. Consider Peter's journey after the miraculous catch and his initial commitment. He wasn't instantly elevated to a life of ease. Instead, he faced moments of profound failure, denial, and persecution. He walked on water only to sink in doubt. He denied Christ 3 times. He was imprisoned for his faith. These weren't detours from his purpose. They were integral parts of his formation. This is a vital lesson for us. God's call doesn't exempt us from trials. It often equips us to endure them, transforming them into opportunities for growth and deeper reliance on Him. The very paycheck Peter left behind, the stability of his fishing business, was replaced by a life of immense spiritual wealth, but also significant earthly hardship. Here's the unexpected lesson. Sometimes the greatest blessings in our purpose-driven lives come disguised as our biggest challenges. It was Peter's profound brokenness after denying Jesus that prepared him for the humility and unwavering resolve needed to lead the nascent church. His imprisonment wasn't a sign of failure, but a testament to the powerful impact of his ministry. When we talk about living beyond the paycheck, we're not just talking about finding a more fulfilling job. We're talking about embracing a different kind of currency, one measured in spiritual growth, eternal impact, and the courage to stand for truth, even when it costs us dearly. The temptation for many of us is to seek a comfortable purpose, one that aligns perfectly with our existing strengths and avoids any significant disruption. But what if God's purpose for you requires you to step into areas of weakness, to confront your fears, or to embrace a mission that seems utterly impractical from a worldly perspective? Peter's story challenges us to redefine success, not by what we accumulate or avoid, but by our willingness to follow God's call, even when it leads us through unfamiliar and uncomfortable terrains. His life teaches us that true fulfillment often blossoms in the soil of sacrifice. Are you willing to pay the cost of discipleship, to embrace the divine discomfort that can truly transform your life and allow God's greater purpose to unfold within you? We've journeyed through Peter's extraordinary transformation, from a fisherman bound by his daily catch to the rock upon which Christ built his church. His story isn't just an ancient narrative, it's a living testament to the truth that God calls us all to something far greater than earthly rewards. It's a powerful invitation to look beyond the paycheck and discover the profound purpose waiting to unfold in your own life. Remember, Peter's greatest catch wasn't fish, but the realization of his divine calling. His legacy, 2 millennia later, proves the enduring impact of a life lived for God's glory. Now, as you reflect on Peter's journey and the potential echoes in your own heart, ask yourself, what seemingly ordinary aspect of your life might God be calling you to transform into something extraordinary? What comfort zone are you clinging to that might be limiting your true potential? Your purpose isn't found in a distant, abstract concept, but often in the brave, obedient steps you take. Today, just as Peter left his nets, are you ready to cast aside what limits you and embrace the boundless possibilities of God's divine plan? Take the next step on your journey of purpose if this message has resonated with you. If it sparked a flicker of curiosity about your own divine purpose, don't let this moment pass. Take action now and continue this journey with us. First, to keep receiving inspiring content like this, exploring profound spiritual truths and the lives of incredible saints like Peter and Padre Pio, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click the subscribe button below and join our growing community. Second, if this video brought you even a flicker of light, a moment of clarity, or a deeper understanding, please give it a like. Your simple click helps this message reach more people who might desperately need to hear it. Third, we want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from today's message? What reflection about living beyond the paycheck resonated most deeply? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective is truly valuable, and your insights can inspire others in our community. Finally, if you know someone who is searching for more than just a paycheck, someone who might benefit from this message of divine purpose, please share this video with them. Be an instrument of inspiration and help others discover their true calling. Remember, your life is not merely a sequence of tasks or a pursuit of fleeting rewards. It is a masterpiece in the making, crafted by a loving God with an eternal purpose. Step into that purpose. Your journey beyond the paycheck starts now.